Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Home and Away, a podcast devoted to all things in and around the world of sport in Kansas City soccer. I am Drew Vanderpool, joined once again, as always, by my good friend Cody Welton. This week on the podcast, Sporting Kansas City played an actual game. For the first time in, almost 2 months, we have a game played by the team that this podcast is dedicated to. I'm not sure why we've just dedicated ourselves and this podcast to this team, but we have, and we're sick individuals that like pain in our lives. I don't know what it is. Masochists, say whatever you want about us, but they did play a game. It was not a victory. There was a lot of bad in it, but we are going to discuss it because that's what we do here every week normally. We discuss this bad soccer team that has been pretty bad ever since we've started covering it. So maybe we're to blame. I don't know. But here we are, and here we go. It was a loss, 3-2 to the scum in Scum City, as you like to say.
Just make sure you capitalize the city.
Capitalize the city. Capitalize the scum. All caps, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm with that.
It was kind of a shitty way to go out with the sort of dubious handball call at the end, and after having built their way back into the match after playing pretty poor in the first half. And really, making some positive changes at halftime and making some adjustments out of necessity, but also like some sort of not revelatory adjustments. Like these are things that could have been done in the first place. So I'm not really sure. I consider it a good coaching job at Rapha Wicky in any shape or form when it comes to how this match was managed. We will discuss many of them, including the Ian James at right back experience and kind of not only playing him at right back, but the role it seems he was meant to accomplish as an 18-year-old center back who has no experience playing right back. It was kind of an interesting choice. We will discuss whether Lasse's loafing is a problem. We'll get more into that as we get there. We'll also discuss the new additions to the team that did, a couple of which did actually make it on the field or Blorian in the starting lineup until he succumbed to the Midwestern heat and humidity, and his muscles at least succumbed to the Midwestern heat and humidity and had to be subbed off. And then Amir Karic also coming out at halftime, and both, I think, acquitting themselves fairly positively in their performances. We can't talk about this game without talking about the referee, only because the team wouldn't allow this game to be talked about without talking about the referee. In their post-game press conferences and a lot of the commentary afterward, the referee was brought up. So I think it's loser mentality to play like shit and then blame the ref, if I'm being completely honest, which is kind of what happened here. But also it was a talking point, so we will discuss it as well as why we can't seem to get two complete halves of a game played by this team at any point in this season. But definitely a tale of two halves yet again, and it's something we've been saying quite a bit. Given that Rapha Wicky did discuss in his post-game press conference how he quote-unquote made a tactical choice at halftime to switch the fullbacks and play guys who could invert more into the midfield.
You play guys who could play fullback?
Yeah, it was more guys who could play fullback, because I don't think either one of these guys inverted that much into the midfield when I rewatched the game. That way to me. But whatever. That was his tactical choice that he made. I do think it's important to discuss why you would use inverted fullbacks against a back 3-5, and there is a very good reason for doing so. So we'll discuss that a little bit, as well as what I thought was interesting with their pressing shape in this game. They were fairly active in their pressure in this game, and they pressed differently than we had seen in the past. It was not just the two forwards. Obviously, it doesn't work against three center backs. They were almost in a 4-2-4 defensive shape, which was kind of interesting to see them trot out. So I thought it would be worth we diving into that. We'll also get into the Kansas City Current and how they seem to have somehow fucked up a good thing. I don't know why, but they have. And some other news around MLS. There's some hot stove happening, even if Sporting Kansas City isn't involved in it right at this moment, before previewing upcoming home game tomorrow night as we record this against Minnesota United, and then hitting the road against LAFC on the weekend. So, Cody, when we got the lineup, I don't know if I felt good or bad that Wyatt Meyer was scratched for illness. Because it didn't mean he was replaced by Moises Mosquera. I mean, we did see Ian James in the lineup, but he was slotted in at right back. There seems to be some reasons why they're trying to get him to play right back. I think we'll get to here as we discuss this more. But let's start maybe with the performance in the first half at the beginning, which I thought was fairly positive. The team was fairly aggressive with their high pressure, fairly aggressive with their counter pressure, created a number of key turnovers. Manu Garcia was pressing very well, created 2 key turnovers in the first 5 minutes. Unfortunately, wasn't able to do much with them. What did you think of kind of how they came out to start this match?
I thought they came out and looked like a competent football team. I did think, and still do think, that maybe they, I don't know, like I did not get a Derby feel from the match, like really hardly at all. And so that was a little bit disappointing to me. I think that maybe a lot of that had to do with the fact that they were coming off of a long break, and they have some squad turnover, some new players, and I think maybe Jansen Miller brought it a little bit, the Derby aspect to it, but that aspect of their aggression and physicality, I thought was lacking a little bit. But just overall, like I didn't think they looked bad. I'll just put it that way. I thought they were lacking some of the intensity and the fire that I would have preferred to see. But I mean, I think that's all stuff that can come later. I think at this point we all just want to watch like a competent performance. So I was heartened by that.
Well, and I think what you would expect, like when this game has been kind of much more, there's been more vibes to it than there was on Thursday night. It was because there was history,
right?
There, a lot of the history has sort of changed, right? I mean, some of St. Louis's guys are there, but I don't feel like either one of these teams has those shitheads anymore. Other than, like you said, Jansen Miller, Shoppy's on the bench. Like Shoppy was good at mixing it up. But I don't think we have like either team. Like Klaus is in LA and then Torres ACL. I just a number of the Celio Pompeu did not. Does he still play for St. Louis? I think he does, but he didn't feature in this game at all. So like there's a number of these players that were kind of the key contributors to sort of that back and forth. The only part that I saw of any significance was when Decky scored and he went, and he talked his shit to the St. Louis fans. And he knows what's up, and he scores against them all the time. And I mean, he scores like in every game against St. Louis, yeah, which is kind of amazing. But it didn't. You're right. I even on, they made a point to say on the broadcast that it was loud in there and blah 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 blah. It didn't feel like it.
It did not feel like it. And there were lots of empty seats that I was able to see. So like you know how I don't like casting dispersions towards St. Louis, but I was a little disappointed in their level of engagement for sure.
I mean, especially given that they've only been around for 4 years.
Yeah.
Like you would think that that they wouldn't have already, the best fans in baseball wouldn't have already, or the best fans in soccer in this case, like they like to say, that they wouldn't have already just like punted on a derby match, but they have. I mean, Sporting had, 150 straight shutouts after they opened the stadium?
Sellouts, you mean?
Yeah, sellouts.
I wish they were shutouts. That'd be awesome.
Shutouts would be great, yeah. Shutouts would be amazing. No, sellouts, yeah. 140, 150 straight sellouts, I don't think St. Louis even made it to 75. So... I mean, anyway, good for. I mean, whatever. It's just you're right. It didn't feel like there was that much riding on this, which was weird.
Well, I think that you're right to point out that there are a lot of players missing from the rosters, and the other thing is that both of the teams are not good, and that always sort of hurts things. I guarantee you, though, that if St. Louis were here, or when St. Louis were here, it was a different story. And so I think that Kansas City has been, we've had a professional team for longer, and we know how to host high leverage matches, and how the fans in Children's Mercy know how to show up. And I guess St. Louis is still learning. I mean, they're soccer newbies after all, and so I guess we should probably cut them some slack.
Touche. I'm just gonna leave that there. So it was a fairly good start to the match. I think things devolved quickly after that point. I would say from about the 10th minute till about the 40th minute, Sporting was nowhere in this match.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's. I mean, it's really disappointing, right? Like you have some new pieces being integrated. You have almost 2 months of time. Well, I mean, obviously they did take some time off, but you have a lot of time to dedicate practice time to the areas of the squad that need fixing, and they are significant and many, but it's still like it's such a work in progress to the effect that they don't, like, there's really nothing that they do well, and it still seems to be that is the case, right? Like they didn't look really good on defense. They didn't look really good on offense. They look okay in possession and progression, but I mean, they looked okay that way last year too. So
right. Well, this is the problem with this team, right? Bill Simmons used to make this joke about Andy Reid back in the day when he was the coach of Philadelphia before he actually won anything. And like Andy Reid teams were fantastic between the 20-yard lines, right? He was like you called inside the 20-yard line the red zone. He called between the 20s the Reid zone, right? Because that's where his teams were fantastic. And that's where Sporting is good. They seem to be fine box to box.
Yeah. Yep.
And just sort of devoid of ideas or coordination in either situation, defending their box or attacking the opponent's box. I mean, the goal that Jovic scores is an absolute fucking gift. I mean, it is created by their pressure, but that's what I'm saying is like the only way they've been able to create chances is with pressure.
That Jovic goal was, dare I say, Klausian.
It was. I mean, Manu's one touch though on this is absolutely
it's fantastic.
It's worth rewatching several times because of how beautifully he one touch cushions this to Jovic, and then Jovic does what he does. He just if I'm standing on the ball 12 yards from goal, it's going in the net. It's just the period. That's how it's going. That's how it's going for you. Just deal with it. Yeah. And he's so calm in those scenarios. He just knows he's going to score.
Yep.
Which is a nice thing to have. It's a very nice thing to have. But yeah, I mean, outside of the two goals that they scored in this game were a gift and an absolute absurd golazo from Kapita Kapemba.
Yeah.
That's what they scored on.
Yeah.
And it's not like they were hyper goal dangerous other than that. I mean, Calvin Harris got there, but the thing is with Calvin Harris is that his quality is such that he needs 4 of those for one of them to go in. And he's not getting 4 of them right now. And it seems to kind of go back. It felt a lot like earlier in the season where offensively they're just not creating enough of the quality of chances. Like they're getting to the areas in positive ways that make you think that they're about to create a good scoring chance, and then they don't. Right? They just it's the whole Greg Velasquez danger adjacent sort of thing, right? They're danger adjacent. They're not getting to the point where they're creating the quality shots that are necessary. I mean, they took 12 shots in this game, but a lot of them were not good.
In the first half, though, they only took 4, and only 1 was on target. And so I think
they barely had the ball in the first half. They defended for half an hour.
Yeah. When they won the ball, they could not keep the ball.
Exactly. Right. And I mean, part of that was to do with the fact that they had 3 center backs on the field, and one of them was asked to play as a wide outlet fullback. So maybe we need to let's just go straight to that conversation.
Okay.
Right? So we discussed at some length last week, or last when we last recorded, that the conversation around whether Ian James playing at right back was good for him or not. I sort of dismissed the fact that, he would forget how to play center back by playing fullback. Like, I don't believe that that's the case. But I also couched it by saying, like, you can play him like they use Alex Freeman with the U.S. men's national team, where you set him back along the back three. He can choose to drive up into midfield when appropriate, right? Or he can choose to create an overload with the right back and the right winger when appropriate. But otherwise, it's a 3-2-5, and that's your build-out shape, and you can kind of use that to sort of manipulate the opponent. That is not what happened in this game. Go ahead.
It should have been what happened, and from the outset, it should have been what happened, because just in terms of from a tactical standpoint, mirroring St. Louis, I think would have been a good idea. But that's not what happened, and as you've kind of pointed out, Ian James was playing a sort of more traditional overlapping fullback type of role, and it's just silly. It is a deeply unserious thing to ask of him, frankly. Nothing in his skill set, and I texted you this during the game, nothing in his skill set lends itself to that type of usage. Like, I don't understand at all what they're trying to do there.
I'm lost as well. I really am. Like, it's a galaxy brain sort of thing.
Especially when you have Jake Davis on the bench. Like, I can understand maybe if you have no fullbacks that you can sub in, but Jake Davis knows how to play that position, and he was way better than Ian James when he came in the second half.
Of course he was, because he's and James moves like a center back. Like, if you watch him play, he moves like a center back.
Yep.
You know why? Because he's 6'2". He's like damn near 200 pounds already. He's fucking 18 years old. He's not going to move like a midfielder turned fullback. Like, he
moves like a center back. He passes like a center back. He crosses like a center back, i.e. not very well.
Very poorly.
He shoots like a center back, i.e. not very like he is not a fullback. He's not, and you cannot turn him into one.
If you watch him play at all, you're like, center back. That is a center back right there. That is a center back. And
this is why, Drew, I was so adamant last week that it was just a silly idea. Is because this is what I envisioned happening, and it was a train wreck. It was. You
were proven correct, because it was fucking garbage.
It was really bad.
It's kind of frustrating to me, because I've heard that they're like internally where they're very frustrated with his performance in this game, and I'm like, no, fuck you. You put him in this position.
It's a silly thing to
do not blame this on the player. Wow. That is, I'm not saying he played the role well. But I'm also saying you gave him a shit job to try to accomplish. Like, you're setting up a barely 18-year-old kid to fail and hoping he doesn't, and hoping he proves you wrong. Like, what is that? What is that? Why would you do such a thing?
I would really love to know, like, what they're seeing in practice or like tactically that's making them think that this is a possibility, because it is. I think you use the term galaxy brain, and that's exactly what it is. Like, it doesn't work for this player. He doesn't seem to be that type of player. But it also just, if you zoom out in sort of a macro sense, like, he just does not fit that mold at all. Like, he is not Alex Freeman. He is not as athletically gifted as Alex Freeman is.
I think he is physically gifted in just different ways.
I agree.
Yeah.
He is physically gifted, like, as a center back. And honestly, that third center back role would actually suit his skill set really, really well, which is why you and I were advocating for that. It does not suit whatever the fuck he was asked to do over the weekend. It doesn't.
I mean, we've discussed a few times now our concerns in certain circumstances where Wicky is trying to get guys to do things that don't fit their skill sets, right? Like, the whole at some level we were seeing guys being played in positions that fit them and kind of put them in position to succeed. But really, in a lot of cases, there were guys like Manu being asked to be a shadow striker, which is just
Right.
not his fucking forte, right?
No.
Like they're being sort of shoehorned into roles because that's what Wiki wants to do.
Yep.
I do think some of it is to protect the back line. I think that they're trying to create defensive control. And so even with James playing high, you've also got Capita, who's a very industrious defensive winger who will come back and sort of assist. And similarly, they've got Calvin Harris in a lot of cases pulled back on the left side. This game was a little different in that regard because they were pressing more with those wingers than they had in the past. But still, they're set up to sort of protect the back line because it's not very good. All they had to do was just leave him back there. Like there were a number of times where I saw Ian up at the half line right against the touch line, and then Lasse drops back and splits the center backs. I'm like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Like what is the point of this? And the only thing that makes any sense to me, especially based on the post game press conference where Wiki's trying to talk about training him up as a fullback, is that they don't think that he's got minutes when Mosquera is healthy and ready to play, right? Which we both agree is probably the case. You signed Orblorian and Moises Mosquera to be your starting center backs, right? That's what you signed them for. And so they're trying to figure out how do they get their 18-year-old kid that is probably worth, if they can push him up, Alex Freeman style, to a, $7, $8, $10 million transfer fee. How do you get him to that place? And so they're trying to find a place on the field for him and maybe solve their own right back problems at the same time. And I think we're in for some lumps if that's going to be the case based on what I saw Thursday.
If you're trying to get him on the field, the option that makes sense is to run him as a third center back in a 3 center back system. And
it doesn't even need to be a 3 center back system. It can be the sort of morphing 4-4-2 to 3-2-5 thing that they were
Sure.
or 4-2-3-1, whatever you want to call it, to 3-2-5 thing that the U.S. men's national team run. There's no reason they couldn't do that. Absolutely none. Whatsoever. And then you've got a guy back there alongside. It would also probably work while Mosquera is not healthy and you've got left center back being played by whoever, right? Yep. If Wyatt Meyer is continuing to be involved in the proceedings, it might be helpful to have another solid center back alongside of him. It just seems so unnecessary, right? And then also, we'll talk about Amir Karic in a little bit, but I thought he played very well and obviously showed capabilities in the attacking half of the field as a left back. You can send him way the fuck up the field like they do with Jedi Robinson. There are things you can do here that aren't that hard.
Yep.
And I just feel like Wiki made it unnecessarily hard.
And it's to James's detriment. To the teams because frankly, just in terms of the performance of the team, it would have been much better to just slot in Jake Davis at right back. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know whether he's in the doghouse or what. I don't care. I'm just.
Part of it. Jake does have he has a mouth problem. He needs to shut the fuck up.
Absolutely.
In a lot of circumstances.
But if you're looking for just in terms of building a balanced squad that can compete in most games, then Davis is a much better choice in that spot than Ian James is. If that's your priority, fine, then that's what you do. If your priority is developing a young player, then you put that young player in the best possible position to succeed. You could have done both, right? You could have put James at right center back because Jansen Miller was not good, and you could put James at right center back and Jake Davis on the right, and then you solve both problems.
That was the part that didn't make any sense to me.
What the fuck? Seriously, what are we doing here? It makes no sense.
You were so hell bent on playing James at right back that you put Jansen Miller in the game.
Yeah, that is nuts to me. Instead of Jake Davis. That's crazy.
And so, all we're hearing is it was a tactical choice to make the changes at halftime. Like I said, I just... Look, two things can be true. You can see James's performance and go, this didn't work, and not be necessarily impressed with how it went. And also look at yourself in the mirror and go, why did I intentionally put the difficulty meter at 11 on this one? Like, why would I do that? Like, what are you trying to achieve? It's also worth noting, Alex Freeman didn't play any substantive minutes for Orlando City until he was 19.
Yep. So
if you're trying to create that situation, like, and they're different players, like, as you noted, they're completely different players, and I don't know, like, it just, like you said, and I told you, it seems so galaxy brained. It just seemed like you overthought this and, like, convinced yourself of something when the very simple answer was just sort of sitting there in front of you. Like, there are ways to get this guy on the field regularly, and there's no reason that Justin Reynolds can't play as a high wingback as well, right? Like, you can do that, or you can shift to a different. You just shift the other direction when Reynolds is healthy, and you pull James out for some reason. Like, he's 18, you're not gonna play him every fucking match. Like, there are options that don't totally make it difficult for you to operate as a club. And
that don't stunt possibly the development of a kid who might be a lottery ticket. He might be a regular MLS starter. He might turn into a below average MLS starter. Who knows at this point? But you got to give yourself, your club, every position to be successful in that respect, and that means not doing stupid shit like this that is easily avoidable.
It's just an own goal, man. Like, why?
Absolutely.
Why are you scoring on yourself?
Yep.
Like, don't.
Absolutely.
Just don't do that. Just don't make it, like, don't give advantages to the opponent.
Yep. And
when James got upfield on the ball, did you see how quickly they crashed with two every single fucking time? So like the goal that gets scored, that we'll talk about here in a second when it comes to your concerns about Lasse loafing, is I think a foul. I understand what they're talking about. I think it was a foul. But still, it was the most predictable situation on earth. He throws it in, Manu kicks it back to him, and he inverts into the midfield and then has a bad touch. Shocking development, as we've got a center back 75 yards from goal trying to drive on goal with the ball through traffic. And what happens? Capita's up there with him. He's on the ground. There's no fucking wide defender on that side as St. Louis goes straight back downhill. LBJ is 30 yards behind him. Gets on his bike for about 30 yards, realizes he's not getting there. Stops running. But I mean, I don't think that has anything to do with why Hartel scores. It's just, it's not a good look. And all of this is because you decided that you had to have a center back play right back, or you're trying to teach an 18-year-old center back to play right back so he can get on the field.
This team is not good enough, and just collectively, the players are not good enough to execute complicated game plans like this. You have to keep it simple. And that's another thing that I think really annoys me about the situation, is that in this particular context, the simple choice is absolutely the choice that you have to go with. The simple solution is the best solution because your team is not good. You don't have enough good players to help compensate if your galaxy brain solution goes bad. So that you have to keep it simple. And that's not what happened. And I hope that they get back to that point of keeping it simple. Let players play in their dedicated positions, in the positions and roles that they feel comfortable in, and let them demonstrate that they've got that down before you start pushing them into other positions. Because otherwise, it's just there's no consistency, and it just becomes more complicated week by week for players to understand what's going on and what their roles are. And that's not what this team means. This team needs ultra simplification. This is like remedial MLS here.
It would also have made it so much simpler for them to track those backside runners that would stay wide. So James got pinned quite a bit because Totland was staying high quite a bit for St. Louis. So like when they, even when St. Louis would have the ball and they'd sort of collapse, Sporting they defend fairly narrow when the ball moves to one side. Totland is staying out there by himself, high and wide, and James sort of stuck there kind of on an island defending him. And if Hartl flares into space, he's kind of like stuck trying to figure out who to cover.
Yep.
And if they were in a 3-2-5 shape, they have a more natural man marking system for all of that as well. Because you have 3 center backs for the 3 forwards that are playing on the field, and you have 5 wide to cover their 3 center backs and their wide fullbacks. And all of a sudden, Capita is tracking Totland instead of James trying to track him, and it's a completely different situation. And it's just, it's so dumb, dude. I rewatched the game, and it just pissed me off some more. Watching it because, and I don't think James was great, but I don't think he was that bad either. I just think he was being asked to do dumb shit.
Yeah, he was asked to be doing too much for what he is and how old he is. He was not put in a position to succeed. That's that we've talked about the importance of that in terms of coaching overall and specifically younger players.
And don't get me wrong, the tactical change language was probably more to protect James a little bit, so it wasn't like, man, he played like shit, I had to get him out of there, which was really what happened, right? Like, he was not having a good game, and so...
No, what happened is he didn't have a good day, but a tactical shift was necessary because Wicky fucked up the tactics from the very beginning.
Exactly. The tactics were shit to start with.
Right.
Guy had 6 weeks to prepare for this game tactically.
Right.
And came up with that?
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break, dude. Okay, let's talk about... Sorry, I had to get my rant out on that one. It just pissed me off so much. You know how pissed I was watching it during the game because you saw the text from me, and then it just got all fired up more again when I got some text from Sperry about some other stuff that reignited my anger about it, and I rewatched the game, and I was like, this is dumb. This is absolutely dumb. Okay, on the second goal, we do see Lasse Berg-Jansen sort of, 30 yards from goal decide he's not going to run hard anymore. You were not a fan.
I was not a fan. I knew at the time and know and agree with you that it was unlikely that he was going to catch the play.
Unlikely. He had been running as hard as he possibly could for 30 yards and made no ground catching Hartl. Made zero ground.
But at the end of the play, Hartl has to pull up. He has to. It's not a direct shot to goal. He has to pull up and shift, to his right. And so I thought that at the bare minimum, a player has to give themselves every chance to help on the backside of that play. And so I thought that LBJ should have kept running. Sprinting as hard as he could to get into the box at that point. Maybe he gets there to help out. Maybe not. Maybe Hartl has a worse touch than he does, and he's actually able to help snuff out a problem. Maybe not. But you don't know. You don't know unless you bust your ass all the way down there. And just like overall, I and you said it, I think in the rundown, it's a bad look, man. It just looks bad. And I am I think we've both been on the fence about LBJ a little bit recently, and I am maybe more on the pessimistic side of that fence than you are. Yep. And so when I saw that, I was just like, give me a fucking break. Every player has positives and negatives, and the goal, the ideal is that you have a point where your positives, that the things that you're bringing to the game and to the club and to the team are more than compensate for your weaknesses, that you're able to mask your weaknesses and maximize your strengths. And at this point, I just don't know I don't have a really good bead as to what LBJ's strengths are. Like I do sort of in a macro sense, but like vis-a-vis the things that are going to make him and this team successful, I have a really hard time putting my finger on like how, like what a successful Sporting Kansas City looks like with LBJ in the midfield. Like I'm having a really hard time imagining that, given the players that he's surrounded with, et cetera, et cetera. And so when I saw that, I was just like, man, give me a fucking break with this. Like, because it's just, optics matter and it looks bad. What do you think? I know you don't really quite agree with me, but please, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Okay. I think that if Peter Vermees saw this play, he'd probably get benched for a month.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand where you're coming from. Like, that is the kind of that there are non-negotiable, and that was part of the Peter Vermees sort of oeuvre, right? There are non-negotiables, and 100% effort was one of them, right? And I don't think it looks good. I understand why you're frustrated by it, as you noted, and as I noted to you at the time. It had literally nothing to do with why St. Louis scored on the play.
Yep.
What I look for is this a consistent issue, or is this isolated to something that happened on a goal scoring play, so it gets elevated in our minds. Yep. Also, your priors are pretty clear on the type of defensive midfielder that Lasse is, and that sort of reinforces those priors, right? That type of play reinforces those. So for me, it's like, hey, is this really a problem or not? I think that, I rewatched the game, and I tagged like 3 separate scenarios where I saw him personally get after it, run down a guy, and close off an opportunity that would have been a problem had he not done it. And I mean, we're talking like full bore sprint, like the guy's after it, right? So I don't think it's an effort issue. I think it's more of he's Norwegian. He's like, looks at it as like he does a calculus at that point. It's like, if I expend this energy here that I need later when it's 95 degrees and 100% humidity, am I going to be able to make that run later? Like, that's the calculus that I think he's doing very quickly in his mind during the game, because we know he's playing 90 pretty much every fucking game. Like, say what you want about like whether you see him being a key part of a successful Sporting Kansas City, which I'll get to in a second. He is not coming out of the game because he's way fucking better than Jacob Bartlett. Okay, like we don't have to have a conversation about the guys on the bench and whether or not he's better than them. Okay, right? Like this is
agreed.
The chasm between him and quality and the guys available off the bench is significant. So he's playing 90 minutes. The question then becomes, to your point, does he make this team good enough when he's playing 90 minutes that they can win? I think part of the problem you're struggling with seeing how he helps them win is because almost no one on this team successfully gets the ball to places where it looks like Sporting scoring.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the issue that they've had all year. They've had for several years, is that they are not, they don't give you the thought that they're going to score very often. And I think that that's more to do with the players available up there than it is necessarily him. And I say that, but I also say that by saying if you watch the second half only, you see a completely different player. And I said this to you before we started recording. As soon as 2 actual fullbacks were on the field, and they had at least one good center back behind him, at least until the 70th minute, he looked way better because there were options. And you can see him, he made a really good interception play, move forward, hit the next pass, and then that turned into a nice pass to Calvin Harris where, things happen with Calvin Harris. That was not an aberration. There were several circumstances where I saw him being the outlet that sort of moved the ball forward into a place where you expect attackers to do attacking things. He can't make the attackers do attacking things.
True.
It is his job to get them the ball in those areas. And he was much better at that in the second half when there were reasonable options for him to distribute to. In the first half, you had Ian James and Jaden Reed playing fullback, man. those guys don't necessarily avail themselves to a pass.
Yeah.
So who's he passing it to? Zoran Basong or Manu? That's it. Those are the only options. Or unless he's trying to split lines and hit it to Capita or Calvin Harris, who have a wing back and a center back bracketing them. It's hard, man. And so I think that, if you look at this game in a vacuum, the tale of two halves does really play out, because you can see a lot more positivity in kind of how they're moving the ball forward. And I look at that as LBJ's job, to help shield the back line, to help sort of emergency defend when things get in a bad way, to help turn over the ball in those circumstances, and then also to help turn over the ball in midfield and move it forward. Those are his jobs. How he goes about doing that is not going to be the way that you like a defensive midfielder look. It's never going to be that. I promise you that. That doesn't mean that it can't be effective. And as I said to you before, Elias Sanchez looked like shit the last couple of years he was here too, when the back line was shit. When they were good, he looked like one of the best midfielders in the league. And when he went to LAFC, he rekindled sort of that. And he continued in having several years after that as a key player, as a 6 in this league. And I'm not comparing them to each other. I don't think they play exactly the same way. I think they're a little bit different. But I think that, as we've noted a few times, the quality of defenders around him is exacerbating his defensive qualities, which are not tackling.
I would, yeah, absolutely, and I would also include Basong in the quality of the defenders around him. Like I don't.
Basong was way better in the second half too. Did you notice that? Like, he was way fucking better. Did they swap sides? I think they did. They swapped sides in the second half. Basong was on the right.
I didn't notice that. But
Basong moved to the right on the second half, and that made a huge difference. And then Lasse was on the left, and Manu started flaring left a lot more too. So like there was some positional arrangement things that changed as well that helped.
Yeah, but Basong needs I don't know, like he needs to. I hate to like sound like that guy, but like he just needs to tackle more, right? Like his imprint on the game is not was not assertive enough, and we've seen him make a more assertive imprint on games. And I thought that his performance against St. Louis was lacking personally, and I think that might be playing into my impression of Johnson too, is because they have to find a way to really play together and help each other out and accentuate one another. And I don't know that we're there quite yet. I was kind of disappointed. I thought that Basong really carried the ball forward, especially in the second half. I thought that his progressive carrying was really good.
Yep.
It didn't really show up in as progressive carries that I noticed on like stats websites, but I clocked a couple of times specifically when he was really good at bringing the ball forward, and that's a positive thing that he can do. But if LBJ is going to be so passive in the defensive aspects of the game, then we really need Basong to sort of like step up the defensive aspect of his game, because you can't have. You just can't have a midfield that doesn't tackle and win balls. You can't. Like, it doesn't. Mm-hmm. You're not going to win football games that way.
Yeah, I was not really pleased with either of their performance in the first half of this one when it comes to kind of managing the midfield, especially given that 4-2-4 pressure shape, which puts a lot of pressure on them to be very active.
A lot of pressure,
and I just didn't see the reaction to that. Like, it seemed a lot of passivity and just sort of waiting and then hoping to try to deal with problems as they arose, as opposed to like proactively trying to eliminate them. And that's not good. I mean, it needs to be better. And I would agree with you that Basong, we need him to be that ball winner, because at least via tackles and duels, because that is not what LBJ is going to do. He will win via interceptions and recoveries and things like that, but he's not going to be a guy who's going to win a lot of duels, right? Like, that's just
and if Basong can't do that, if that's not part of his game, if he's not being coached to do that, like, then he's going to be replaced if the team is on a trajectory towards being a successful and well-balanced team, because you can't have a midfield that is oftentimes just two players who have that much of a defensive deficiency. It just doesn't work. The teams are going to take advantage of it, and most teams we play are going to be better than St. Louis at doing that.
I mean, combined between the two of them, they got into 8 duels.
Yeah, that's one of them needs to be doing that.
Right. I mean, Roger would get into 10 plus a match, right? Like, and
that is a unicorn. The more and more football I watch, the more I'm convinced this Roger is my favorite player, because he's a unicorn, because he's an animal, an absolute animal.
I mean, don't get me wrong. They've been trying to replace Roger Espinosa since he left too.
Yep.
Like that has been a difficult thing. But yeah, you can't be a defensive midfielder or I mean, that's what they're both playing effectively in a double pivot, and not get into tackles, not get into duels, not foul the opponent and stop them from progressing. Like, jump into the duel, stop the ball. Like, St. Louis had no problem doing that in the first half. They turned it into a stop-starty just mess. They did not allow Sporting to do anything. And Capita would try to get forward, and they just tackle him. And we take the foul and move on. Like, we have discussed this over and over and over again. Why can't Sporting Kansas City do the same thing? They just seem to be ineffective at it. The physical part of the game, they're ineffective at it. And it's a problem. You know what's crazy? Manu Garcia won like 12 balls in the attacking half in this game. He was significantly better at winning the ball than either of those fucking guys were.
Yeah.
And we sort of gave Manu a go about this, and this is kind of the reason why we're like, hey, part of the reason you're on the bench is you're not pressing effectively, you're not winning the ball back via counter pressure. Like, this needs to be part of your game. This is MLS, man. You can't just sit back and wait to hit passes. That's not going to work. Like, you've got to get involved and help create turnovers. And he did. To his credit, he did in this game. I thought he was great in this game, by the way.
Yeah, I did too. He was.
And, once again, people who don't know shit about soccer are trying to act like he's not valuable. I don't even know what to say to people like that. I just don't. If you watch Manu Garcia play soccer, you're like, nah, don't need that guy. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say to you. It's just mind-boggling to me, because I can show you all the statistics in the world, and I can tell you all the things that he does, and if you just don't see it, you don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem with him is that he is he's kind of a tweener in terms of his position. Like, he's not.
But he had like 4 or 5 ball deleries that almost created goals, man.
I agree with you. I'm just trying to I'm trying to parse out what people aren't seeing. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that, I mean, literally, if he was playing for sort of like a vintage Sporting KC team with like Ile behind him and Roger to the side of him, and he was that left-sided 8, he would be cooking the league. And he's not.
One could say that he's sort of cooking the league now in a lot of statistics, right?
Absolutely.
Like, if you compare him to midfielders across the league, he's exceptionally well placed.
He's that
guy. But my favorite thing is, so this is our first match with John Moeller and Mike Imbruglio's new app, Footy, if you're not familiar with it. Now, this app is really for, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's FotMob-ish in its intent, but it's way nerdier than that. And they have a lot of different sort of models relating to how they sort of qualify and quantify players. Mm-hmm. And, like, they have styles for all the players. And if you bring up Manu Garcia, it says central orchestrator. And that is, like, the best way to describe him.
Yeah.
Like, that is him.
It truly is. Yep.
It's like central orchestrator. And then on, like, it has, like, the match skills that they look for in this type of player. And, of course, the creating bar is maxed out.
Yep.
Is this not what you want your 10 to do? Be an effective creator? Like, is that not what you ask that guy to do?
One would think. I mean, he I don't know, man. He doesn't score goals. Maybe that's
he's
the
my favorite
problem. I
midfielder
don't
we've
know.
had since Felipe Gutierrez, like by far.
Yep.
Like I just period. And I might like him. I mean, Felipe was so good for the 18 months before he got injured, dude. He was so good. So I don't want to have like a revisionist history because I'd have to go watch those Felipe games again to like remember what it felt like to watch him because he was so good for that period. But like he's that good of a player. He's a different player than Felipe. Felipe is a lot more goal dangerous than he is. But Manu's a way better creator than Felipe ever was. So like there's just there's a balance to it, and like he goes in my opinion. Now granted, they're not winning anything. They suck ass right now, but he goes in that pantheon of the last like 20 years of him and Felipe and Benny Feilhaber. Like those guys just did soccer better than any guys that we've had at that position.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it. And I don't know. I'm done trying to explain it to other people.
Well, hopefully, and I think that we touched on this last week, hopefully having two MLS starting caliber wing players will help him elevate his game a little bit.
Yeah. They desperately have to get one of these winger acquisitions done. Like it has to. It's so clear. Because Capita gets a brilliant goal in this match, but he was basically anonymous otherwise, and part of it is because he had to play so deep all the time to cover, defensively for Ian James. So
it's amazing how many dominoes that bad decision set off all around the field.
It's just so stupid. Like, as soon as the second half started, Jake blasts forward with the ball, plays an in ball to Capita, who's running onto it. And I'm like, okay, because we were playing a center back at fullback for the first half.
Everybody looked better in the second half. And that is, like, that's not an accident, right? That it's there was only one change made, right? Or there were two, I guess.
Yeah, because Amir Karic comes on as well.
Right.
And,
but that's a good addition as well. I mean, that's a starting player who's
he's
actual experienced left back.
He's obviously quality. Like you could watch him for 10 minutes in this game and gone, oh, okay, this is what a starting quality MLS left back looks like.
Yep.
Got it.
Absolutely.
Got it. Okay. Similarly, at left center back, a starting quality MLS center back was on the field.
Yep.
Until, again, his muscles succumbed to the heat. They apparently both had comments afterwards like, okay, I knew it was going to be hot, but that's different. That's different than what I was expecting. Thankfully, they're practicing in the same heat this week, so they're getting their bodies acclimated to it. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really appreciate Devin Kerr making it sound like Belorian was injured for 20 minutes, but regardless, it was cramping, which happens to guys who just, and it's his first match as well since the end of May when Apoel Beersheva won the Israeli Premier League. So it's been a minute since he's played a competitive match as well. But you can tell, like, the dude just gets it, just knows how to play center back.
Yep.
Just
He's
makes
calm
the right runs.
and cool and collected and
Snuff stuff out. He almost got all the way across to Hartle on the goal. The Hartle scored. He almost really made that run all the way across it, which I thought was insane.
And he's already demonstrating the leadership component that I think he was brought in for. Even in the scrimmage, as well as the game last week, he was directing players and setting the line, and like he's that guy, right? He is the player on the back line who's responsible for setting the line and just organizing the defense, because it definitely ain't Cleveland, right? So
No.
we
gotta sign a goalkeeper in the offseason, man. That needs to happen too.
He's not good.
I mean,
I would honestly prefer Pulskamp.
Really?
Yeah.
The problem with Pulskamp is he's like so prone to doing something really dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, but Cleveland did it in this game. Like, why is he trying to grab that ball on the first goal? Like, just punch it.
That was
just
punch
punch it.
Terrible. That was a really dumb decision.
Absurd decision. Yeah. But that's the thing. Is like we still have guys playing meaningful minutes for this team that are like that level that could do something really fucked up at any given point in time. And
I
until
mean,
they can
here's the
can
thing.
get a
If
starting 11 of guys who are of the league level, like it's going to be a problem.
if John Pulskamp would have done what Cleveland did with that ball, people would be eviscerating him
Oh,
online,
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not fair because it was a really, really, really bad play.
It was.
Um,
I mean, I do think that is often called as a foul. And, like typically, if the goalkeeper's trying to
Dude, all
grab
you
the
gotta do is
ball,
punch the ball, man. Just punch the fucking ball. It's
you're
really,
exactly right. You want to
it's way simpler than that. Just punch the fucking ball, man.
100% right, but also like you do see that the goalie's protected a lot in that circumstance, but Alan Chapman was not having that. Maybe this is a time to discuss that. This became a huge conversation. I mean, Alan Chapman, he wasn't calling much in this game. And I mean, I will give him credit for the fact that it was.
I didn't think he was bad. I
don't think he was bad either.
Though.
I think there are moments that people are arguing about. Like again, on the second goal, Ian James probably gets fouled. I'm not sure for sure that he gets fouled. He probably gets fouled. I find it interesting that they didn't Zapruder film that one. They Zapruder filmed the hell out of the supposed handball on Ethan Bartlow. They did not, and even with the Zapruder film, you can't see what the fuck happened. I'm sort of like, are you sure you saw what you thought you saw? Because I didn't see anything specific, like, sort of clear in any of those camera shots. But they didn't do that on the foul on Ian James that created the attacking play. So, and we know that change of possession is the beginning of the attacking phase of play. So they 100% could have looked at it. We know that because of the Argentina one that got called back. Was it the quarterfinals? Quarterfinals, I got one, or semifinals?
Against Egypt, yeah.
Yeah. And everyone said that the refs were in the bag for Argentina in that one. So anyway, I thought by and large Chapman's game was at least consistent. I'm not sure I like the way he called it, but it was consistent, right? And he was letting a lot go on both directions. And it really wasn't I mean, Capita straight up two-hand shoves a guy in the first 4 minutes of the game, and he just pulls him up and says, whoa, buddy, come on now. Like, that's where we're not going to do that. And he doesn't do anything but talks to him. And then Capita does get the yellow card later in the game, which was deserved. I really don't quibble much with it. Other than my main issue was the VAR situation.
Yeah.
But the thing that's interesting is like Manu was fired up about it post game. Like you don't see Manu in press conferences very often. I think this might be the first time I can remember him, especially in a post game presser. He was like legitimately, like you could see him like borderline shaking mad still after having a shower and everything and going back and setting to do questions. Like he's like, I can't, I'm borderline, like I can't even talk much about this. I'm so mad. So the team for some reason felt like it was really bad, but I like I said, you play like shit for as long as they did in this one, and certainly are the second best team for the majority of this game.
Yep.
I can't get behind you arguing about the referee.
I agree. I agree. I mean, they I don't know. They got really lucky with that Capita goal, and I thought that they were going to be really fortunate.
Well, I mean, I don't think they got lucky. Capita hit a great shot. It was a great shot.
He did, but I mean, I just mean it's a very low probability goal.
It's not repeatable, right? You're not scoring one of those every game.
Right.
But Capita, he had plenty of time. He picked it out and it just slammed it up in the upper right corner. I mean, it was a beautiful shot.
It was a great goal, and I don't mean to take away from that.
They got lucky. They got lucky on the second goal. That was lucky. Ben Lunt just sort of having a brain fart, Cleveland style. All Lunt has to do is kick it deep. And that never happens. Him trying to play that pass was very Galaxy brain, very Stefan Cleveland not punching it esque.
They were fortunate to be tied, and then to give up that handball, it just felt like a little bit of a gut punch. But those are the breaks, and they did not. throughout the game, they did not put themselves in a position to win the game. And they, as I said, they were very fortunate to be tied. And so, I mean, it is what it is. I don't think it. I thought it was a deserved result. I thought it was fine, and they just have a lot of work to do, and they have a lot of avenues where they can get better. A lot of that's still going to involve bringing in better players, because we saw when better players were on the team, they played better. It's magic, right? And so the more better players that we can get on the field, the more competitive this team is going to be. That's like that's we say that every week, but it's true, and it'll keep being true until we can field a team that is more talented than our opposition.
Well, or at least equally talented to the opposition.
Yeah.
I think that what's notable is that everyone around the team is saying this too. Like, even the players are saying this. They know they need better players on the team. The coach is saying this. David Lee's saying this in press conferences. We're trying to add more talent. We know we need to put more talent on the team. Everyone knows it's a problem. So, just, hey, David Lee, get the fuck on with it. Like, let's fix the problem. You got an owner that's ready to give you the money to do it. Let's just go fix the problem, eh? I mean,
just
I
buy
know,
some players. Come on.
I know I know we're making it sound simple, and it's not quite that simple. But I do think, everyone understands what needs to happen to make this team better, and at least they are, all pushing in that direction. Let's really quickly talk on the tactical side of things. To Wicky's comment about the inversion of the fullbacks, I mean, I saw it every now and then. They would carry it inside to kind of get inside the overload. But also, this isn't some sort of like tactical revelation that no one's ever heard of before. You're playing with a team that's defending 5 wide. Of course, you're trying to get your fullback in between that wing back and the wide center back. That is the channel with which you could progress, because the wide fullback, the wing back is over on the fucking touchline. The center back is somewhere along the edge of the 18-yard box. That's where the fucking space is. Yep. The fact that he had to be like, oh, it's tactical. We wanted to go more inverted with our fullbacks. Oh, shut the fuck up. Come on. Like, this is, just give me a break. Like, let's stop acting like you had some sort of tactical revelation at halftime of something that you like needed to come up with. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, we went pretty hard on this. I was not impressed at all with Wicky's game management in this one at all.
No,
like I thought it was he fixed problems of his own creation. So I mean, I guess good on you for that. But that's it.
That's what Zvagnin did too. Like in that respect, it's not that much of an upgrade. So
not any part of it, not that much. No right. Upgrade whatsoever.
Yep, I agree.
So, what did you think of the pressing shape they used, where they were pressing more with the wingers, and Manu was pressing, but almost sort of it looked almost like a 4-2-3-1 in their pressure shape, which was kind of interesting and a little bit different than what we had seen in the past, which was very much a 4-4-2.
I thought that their pressing looked good. I'm kind of reserving judgment to see how they do it with teams that have that build out with 4 at the back versus with 3. But I thought it was good, and I thought that Manu specifically was a lot better than I thought he was going to be, and I think that he is taking his benching or whatever to heart, and it is improving on that aspect. I mean, I don't think they're ever going to be like a great pressing team. I think that they're a team that is going, in order to press well, their press has to be like a counter press type of thing, right? Like I think that they're not going to be a very adept, just like all out high press team, because you need your 2 forward players to both work, and I think that Joveljic is like barely adequate right?
He was much better in this game than I remember
Sure.
him in the past, but it was that was the thing that I was going to say about it. I doubt that they would use this technique against a team that builds with two center backs. It would make no sense. I think you would leave yourself too open behind to do something like that. But against a team that's building with three center backs and sort of a central outlet with Leuven, it makes sense to have Manu sort of shade Leuven and then bring the other three up, right? Like that does make sense.
Yep.
And I think that they were very successful at it. Like I was really surprised, not only that they were successful at it, but how coordinated it was. That has been my biggest issue with their pressure, is that it just often it wasn't connected. Like when you watch, and granted, we're talking about chasms in quality between these two teams, but one of the best in the world at this is PSG, and it's not like it. And PSG doesn't high press. They situationally press, they trigger press. People call it a trigger press. It's a little different than that, but they situationally press based on circumstances when they can create the overloads. They could feel that opportunity to sort of pinch the opponent to the side. There's situations when they are pressing, and that's what Sporting does. And it was just, I was surprised at how coordinated it was, because it was a different style to than how they had been doing it in the past. And the only reason that I thought it was worthwhile bringing it up, well, a couple of reasons. One, we spent a lot of time last week talking about Manu being a second pressing forward and his effectiveness, and does that sort of negate his ability to spend a lot of time on the field for this team? And second, the follow-on question that came from that from a couple of listeners of the podcast, and this is your weekly reminder to join the Discord, link is in the show notes, but the question that came of this in the Discord was, would is there a different way to go about doing this if Manu's not a good presser? Should we press more with the wingers? Are the wingers not effective at pressing? Why wouldn't we do that? And what we saw in this game was similar to something that I felt I've been fairly confident of for a while now. Our wingers are good pressers. That's not the issue. The issue is that Wicky has been keeping them deep to sort of cover defensively for a bad back line.
Yep. Yeah. You can't consider these players and their pressing assignments in a vacuum, right? Like it's a team wide issue, and if you press with the wingers and you don't have for example, fullbacks who can help cover and do the defensive job, then it's going to be really easy for them to play around your pressing front line, and frankly that applies to the midfield too, right? It's like pressing is not it's in some respects as complicated and requires as much drilling as build out does, and so.
I think it's way harder than build out. I mean, depending on what your build out, like if you think of build out, like building out from the back, or sort of your passing rotations for building out, I think it is way harder to coordinate a 4-man press like they were doing.
And one of the reasons why is you really, like, if you're building out and you're a defender and you're in the build out phase, you know that your passing options are primarily going to be in front of you, right? And if you're pressing,
the whole game is in front of you, right?
And if you're pressing, you have to, your pressing target is in front of you, but you have to be aware of everything that's behind you and where your cover shadow is, and so
because that defines the angle of pressure that you take. Kind of like what area are you. You're highlighting a really important point. Like, you have to know what your cover shadow cone looks like, and in comparison to where the ball is and where the guy is he on his dominant foot or not. Like, there's so much that goes into that you have to sort of and then you have to sort of shade yourself in a way that eliminates his passing options. It's way harder, in my opinion, than hitting the pass.
Yep.
Because hitting the pass, you just move one. You can move a half step left or right and all of a sudden open up 20 degrees more angle to hit a pass into, right? And it's so much harder to press effectively to eliminate that option.
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it that much, but my gut instinct is to say that that build out requires more technical precision, and that's why it might be considered more difficult. Whereas pressing is more maybe mental, and I don't know. That's just my
I
my
mean,
my.
yeah, I would disagree with that personally. But you're also talking to a guy who played center back. So for me, I always found it way easier to find a space to put the ball
Right.
than to eliminate a space for someone else to put it. Because the field's so fucking big.
Yeah.
That's why my mind thinks of it in that way, right? Like, I think of it as it's way easier for me to shift one way or another based on the angle to be able to open an angle in another way than it is to eliminate all those options from someone, given the size of the field. That's just my personal opinion. But I also think you're right. At a certain level, pressing is about effort. It has to be about effort because you're running at a high rate of speed and you're trying to close down options before someone can actually process that information and move it. So for me, I think the technical skill is important, dude, but I think it's more about brain. It's like how quickly does your brain read and react to what's happening? I think that's way more important, honestly, than your. These guys are all if you've made it to this level, if you've made it to MLS, your technical skill is such that if your brain can react to what's happening fast enough, you can move the ball. I don't have any doubt of that whatsoever. What I do have a doubt of is those guys being able to react to the speed of decision making that has to happen. And that is what good pressure can definitely create problems with. And we saw it with Ben Lunt in what he did, right?
Yeah.
And that is what pressure is trying to do. It's trying to make a decision in a short enough time window that you make the bad one.
Yep. Absolutely.
I would like to see more of this. It was good. It was good. I actually enjoyed that part of the game. It was one of the few parts of the game I enjoyed, but I did enjoy that part of the game.
I think it's heartening that they were able to generate attack out of it, and so that's one of the important things. Yes, you press to make life difficult for your opponent, but especially when you look at a team like Sporting Kansas City, who really only has one creative player, you've got to find a way to generate goals. Because if you're just relying on one player, if you're just relying on Manu to create chances, it's really easy for other teams to sort of eliminate that option, and so you have to have a backup. But we don't have a backup player who can help provide goal scoring chances consistently, and so that's going to have to come from the press and the counter press. And so the better the team can be at that, the I think the more competitive they're going to be in the second half of the season, third, 2/3 of the season.
Right, and the secondary part is that if you're creating turnovers via pressure, not only have you turned over the ball higher up the pitch and kept it farther away from your goal, you've also turned over the ball in a negative situation for the opponent. So, like, if they have been very good at negating Manu by bracketing him or physicaling him off the ball, they are now scrambling to try and find him.
You're creating a chaotic transition moment.
Exactly, which is just as important for guys like Manu to take advantage of. So absolutely. I think that and we're probably not saying anything that you guys haven't that doesn't sound fairly obvious, but the effectiveness at it has not been at the level that it was in this game. So that was the one part that I was pretty warmed by, that I think they can take into this game against Minnesota to continue to try to improve upon. And Minnesota will likely play in a back three. They don't always play in a back three right now, but they probably 75% of the time they do. And so there might be an opportunity to kind of bring it back out in the same way they have. Before we get to that game, let's get to potpourri. Just like your favorite Jeopardy category, we got a few topics in and around the Sporting Kansas City MLS soccer sphere. I'm going to paraphrase a text that I got from someone recently. I'm not going to put a name to it. I'm just going to say a text that I got that, and again, I'm paraphrasing that, I echo this sentiment. So I'm going to say it in my own words. I'm struggling to enjoy this team anymore. Like, they've sucked the joy out of it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree.
They have one of the best, most dynamic players on earth, and I just don't have any fun watching them play.
they don't feel like a dynamic team, right? Like must see TV in that respect.
Like how they fucked up such a good thing? Like I just I
Hubris. It's a tale as old as time, right? It's Homer saying epic poems about it. It's all hubris, man. That's really what it is.
Yeah. I mean, we gotta call a spade a spade. Like, this all starts with Alex Pfeiffer. It's weird, but it all starts with Alex Pfeiffer, who gets unceremoniously waived because they want space for their fucking kid to play. Like, that's it, right? There's no other reasonable explanation for this. Alex Pfeiffer is one of the highest rated wingers in NWSL this season for Bay FC. Bay FC, who, by the way, was fucking garbage last year. Absolute garbage. And they ship Alex Pfeiffer. Alex Pfeiffer signs over there for nothing because they get nothing out of her. This is a guy that this is a woman that Vlaco identified when she was fucking 16 as like an elite potential talent future. She played fantastic until she injured her knee. She comes back, she plays great after the knee injury. And then they're just like, we're just going to waive you for no fucking reason. Oh, by the way, her best friend is probably going to be playing the sixth for the U.S. Women's National Team for the next 15 fucking years. She's pissed off, says, I want the fuck out of here. Goes to join her friend Alex at Bay FC. Now you've just given away two players who I think will probably between them have 150 U.S. Women's National Team caps.
Yep.
What? I mean, good job on getting Croy Bethune, who is a player, and I enjoy. She is probably the most fun player on the team now.
Agree.
But they've just taken all the soul out of the team. It's all gone. Like, it's obvious that it's an environment that nobody's that vibed about being at, because they all, like, this team looks about 20% as interested as they did last year in playing soccer.
Yeah.
Like, you just watch them, you can tell they give about as much of a shit as I do when I watch the games. And it's just like, what the fuck? And they're pros. I'm not trying to make it seem like they're dogging it intentionally. I don't believe that's true. I'm just saying psychologically, we've talked about this before. When your team is flying, everybody's in, everybody's giving maximum effort, everybody's dialed in mentally, like 100% all the time. It looks different, man. It just looks different. This is the difference between Liverpool a season ago and Liverpool last season.
Yep, you can watch them and you can tell the vibes are not right.
The players didn't change that significantly, man. In fact, they probably got more talented on the attacking side of the ball and were way fucking worse.
Yep. It's the difference between being sixth place and running away with first place, right? It's
that's where the Current are probably going to end up, is fucking sixth after
where they
absolutely
are now.
dominating the league, right?
Yeah.
They're good enough to get in the playoffs and whatever, and
they've got the best player in the league.
Yeah, but she's going to be I gotta call it WAFCON. Yeah,
I love it.
But she's going to be at WAFCON for like at least 5 games.
If you
They're
know
playing right
you
now,
have friends, if you have friends who don't know a lot about soccer, just tell them Tim was going to be at WAFCON and watch their face. Because I've said that a few times and people looked at me like, "What the fuck?"
Well, I mean, you have to know what AFCON is. It's kind of funny, but yeah, WAFCON. I mean, it's happening.
WAFCON.
When do the Current play again? They don't play again until Saturday. Okay, I didn't know if they had a game midweek game or not. But yeah, I mean, like, it just like it seems unnecessary. Just like all the stuff we talked about the first half for Sporting, just so unnecessary. Like you intentionally like raise the difficulty level.
Yeah. For
what reason? It speaks like I've worked in the corporate world for 25 years now, so I'm really familiar with this, where like you have a really good year but didn't go perfectly, so you change a bunch of shit trying to make it perfect, and you actually make it way fucking worse. Sorry, I'm cursing a lot on this podcast. This is definitely E-rated this week. But like they did, like that's exactly what happened. And I'm serious, man. Like these games are not fun to watch.
No, they're not. They used to be like win or lose. They used to be just such an enjoyable team to watch because they were trying things, and you knew that they were going to be going to goal.
And it was sophisticated, and the patterns were fun doing. Like the patterns were good.
Yep.
There were like so many things, and now it just seems like a whole lot of hero ball.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I think that. I mean, you rightly diagnosed the problem as starting with Pfeiffer and Hutton, but it's also Chris Armas, right? Like. He is who we thought he was. He's just not. He's not a dynamic coaching presence and not forward thinking enough in a way that that makes the team, dominant or even approaching that, right? And so it's, yeah.
Well, and then they've got the gall to put up banners around the properties around the park that say, don't worry, the world's best are still here, or some bullshit like that with a thing of the current. And I'm like, this ain't the world's best. This ain't even fucking close to the world's best. Like, what are you talking about?
They just mean Temois specifically.
Well, okay, yeah. You have one. It's a team sport, man.
Yep.
Like, it's just there's just this like, I mean, it really does feel like soccer parent syndrome all the time, man. Not just the whole thing with the players to get their kid in the lineup who tore her ACL immediately after, which is the most karmic fucking thing. I feel bad for Mary. It's not her fault. It's not her fault any of this shit is happening, but it is karmic as hell that kind of thing would happen. And then it's just like the sort of like thinking that you're better than you are because it's yours, it's your team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this just unwillingness to sort of accept reality. I mean, you've talked to some soccer parents before that, like, I know you know what soccer parents are like. Like
I was one. I know exactly.
I tend to think that you're probably a little bit more even keel than
Nope. I still think my kid's the best, and my kid got a raw deal, and I still think all those things. So
I mean, you do it at a certain level, but you also don't think that your son is Marcelo either. Like, I mean, like let's be honest. Like,
he wishes, man. That's.
We were talking about him playing for UMKC. Like, let's be honest, right? Like, this is not... UMKC's building a program, by the way. He might have should have done that. He might have should have done that.
It was, yeah. UMKC have built their program. I know that they're drawing in some high quality local talent now, but they weren't. 5 years ago, it was almost entirely foreign talent, and it was really hard to get even looks if you were not a foreign player. And so yeah, but that's neither here nor there.
That's a whole conversation about Ryan Poor and what he's doing with that team. But I really enjoy it. It's like making me want to go to games again. I'm like, I'm probably gonna try to go to some. It's right by my house, so it's easy for me to go watch them, and they are doing something fun over there, but that's neither here nor there. But it's very much the soccer parent syndrome. It's like you think your team that it can do no wrong, and anything that is going wrong is not their fault or not the fault of choices you've made or any of that kind of stuff, right? Like
which look, it's fine. Just buy some fucking midfielders, right? Like, I mean, all of that stuff aside, like you could make that work, right? Just understand how a functional soccer team is built, and you have to have an engine in your midfield. That's the heart and soul of a team. And if you don't have that, if you let that walk out the door and don't replenish it, then you're not going to be the team that you want to be. You're never going to be that team. And Mary Long does not play in the midfield. So fine, let her do her thing, but buy some fucking midfielders who've got the juice to make the machine work.
No arguments here. You would think with the exits they've had that they have the ability to make that kind of change if they want to. I know they signed Temwa to that extension, and she's on the high impact player thing now. So
yeah,
I don't know what their cap situation is. All that stuff is fairly opaque. But if you look at what Gotham is doing, you can't tell me that there's not some way for the Current to sign a good quality midfielder. Like, every time you think Gotham can't sign another player, somehow they sign another absurd quality talented player. So, maybe this is a conversation about the GM, who isn't Vlatko, by the way. Vlatko is at this sort of like overseer sort of position. Is it Ryan Dell still? I don't know if he's still.
I don't know. The simplest solution is just to
make the
simplest solution is to make Lily Johannes the highest paid player in NWSL, and
they can't do that on the cap because they're all using Temwa as the high HIP player.
I know it was a joke, Drew.
Well, I mean, don't make jokes that don't make sense. I mean, I'm just telling you. And by the way, Lily Johannes would not solve their ball winning problems.
No, she would not. That is not what she.
There's a reason why I'm very excited about a Lily Johannes Claire Hutton midfield in the women's on the women's national team for the next 15 years, because that is a midfield I can get behind.
Hell yeah!
You want to talk about two players that complement each other very, very well.
Yep.
That's it. But like I said, part of the problem is, and we can talk about all of the reasons why, but you let loose. It's happened now. Claire Hutton plays for Bay. That is the situation. You cannot replace Claire Hutton. It's impossible. She is. I know that we wax poetically about her too much. That is a unicorn player. You are not going to just find another fucking unicorn. That's not going to happen. But you can, you know what? I'm not sure anything's happening before whatever transfer window closes for the Current. I'm sort of resigned myself to believing that this is the roster through the end of the year. They can sign Hel Hirschfeld as a free agent. They can sign, there are options.
Yep, there are options, yeah.
There are options. So I think that I just hope that they make some sort of substantive change to how this midfield is architected, because Lowe doesn't look like herself, doesn't look like last year Lowe at all. And I mean, mother time in this circumstance comes for us all, right? It happens to everyone. And I think that some soul searching is going to have to happen. Dabinia does not look like it right now, either. I
mean, you just mentioned two players who are into their 30s and encroaching on mid 30s. And look, man, it happens. That's why you can't let your young, up and coming elite players walk out the door. Right, you have to be able to.
I mean, Deb's damn near 35, and they just signed her to a 1-year extension.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, I'm with you. We're on the same page, and I just feel like they're making the sort of have to decisions now because they put themselves in a place where they don't have any other choices. I think when this 11 is fully healthy, they're a good team.
Yeah, they're a good team.
I mean, I do think so. I think when they're 100% healthy, I think DiBernardo can play in a double pivot with Lowe, and they'll be okay. Not great, but it'll be okay. You have Bethune at the 10, and Temwa, and Michelle Cooper, and I guess Haley Hopkins. up
Yeah.
top. That's the other part. It's like it's kind of weird with the decision, or Deb, one of them. I would rather play Deb as a straight up striker, so she's not having to drop
Run
into
around,
midfield as
yeah.
much and run around as much, or try to be a winger. Like the whole left winger thing was just weird, like strange. I know they keep doing it, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. She doesn't have the speed to play wing in the NWSL anymore. She just doesn't have it. The NWSL has become. That's the one thing that I have noticed is that in the last couple of years, the wide players, both at fullback and at winger, have become way more athletic in the NWSL. Like the athleticism level has jumped up another a notch, and like. There's no more striking disparity, not just when Tem was off the field and Deb's playing over there. When Deb's on the left and Michelle Cooper's on the right, there's just a chasm.
Difference. Yeah.
And I don't mean to be disparaging to Dabinia. It's just there's just a chasm between those two things. And if she's going to try to be, 34-year-old Johnny Russell, she better start taking on fullbacks and splitting them and, curling shots into the corner. And she's not doing that either. So,
Yep.
Anyway, it's a bummer. I want them to be better, but I almost feel like they need to crash a little bit so that some of these changes that were made by the people who don't know by people who think they know more than they do. Recognize that they don't and put the decisions back in the hands of people that know what they're doing. This team was quite poor before they hired Vlatko and put him in charge of all the decisions. And since they've taken him out of those decision-making positions, has become quite poor again.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. All right. Moving around MLS news. Hugo Kuipers, in the least surprising news of all time, leaves the Chicago Fire before ever playing with Robert Lewandowski. No, we're definitely going to play them together. We definitely want them to play together, guys. We definitely want them. We brought Lewandowski in here to play with two strikers. Duh. Like, we totally did that.
It seemed like they were building to that. But
well, that's what they said.
they were playing two strikers. They were playing two strikers before the World Cup break.
I know, but I mean, this is the least surprising shit of all time. Hugo Kuipers had to give up his fucking jersey to the guy that they just hired, that they just signed, and it's like, oh well, he asked to leave. Oh really? Shocking. The guy's averaging like 0.8 goals per game over the last like 40 games. He's the MLS Golden Boot leader. You went and signed a guy to basically replace him, and you're surprised he wants to leave?
They signed a guy 10 years older than him, basically.
Yes.
Lewandowski's 38 years old.
This is you want to talk about some galaxy brain shit. This is where things can go wrong with your money. When like Joe Mansueto's like, hey, we're gonna sign Lewandowski, we got a new stadium opening soon, blah 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 blah. Let's do this. And you can fuck up your soccer team pretty quick if you make decisions like that.
Do you think they're fucking up their soccer team?
I don't think so. I mean, Lewandowski's going to be fine at MLS. I mean, for a couple of years, he'll be fine. I don't think but the problem is, and Kuipers would have been 31 by that point, so, maybe whatever. Yeah. He's only got 18 months left on his deal. He was never going to renew. There was no way he's renewing.
Yep.
So, he has to go out and they get this deal with Monterrey. I just don't understand. And, there's a lot of discussion about whether or not this was actually something that MLS teams knew was a thing or not. Supposedly, according to Tom Bogert, other teams did inquire, including St. Louis. And thank fucking God St. Louis didn't get Hugo Kuipers. I'm very happy about that because
Amen.
After watching how many opportunities Simon Betcher got on Thursday night, if Hugo Kuipers got those chances, we would have lost like 7-2.
Amen. Yep.
So I'm glad that didn't happen. But I think that I'm just surprised that more teams weren't trying to chase this down for $7.5 million. Like $7.5 million is nothing. Like that's for the MLS Golden Boot leader. Like I would buy. Like Atlanta United spent $22 million on Emmanuel Latte Loth, and basically have I don't know nothing. I mean, yeah, they have like a 35-year-old Tom Dwyer. Like what? Why would they? why wouldn't another team be like, yes, please? Like, this is a thing. Like, a lot of people are like, I don't understand. You get a lot of like, if it's a player from within the league, sometimes they're undervalued a little bit because they're like, oh, we've seen them. So like, there's this promise of something better if it's from outside the league. And I'm like, no, man, if you can guarantee me 20 fucking goal contributions a season, $7.5 million is an instant buy, like an instant buy. That's like the whole thing with Joveljic when they got him for like $4 million or whatever it was.
Yep, absolutely.
And people are like, well, I mean, he hasn't really done it. He's kind of, his stats are a little bit lumpy. His underlying numbers aren't that, but fuck that. This guy,
when he's in the box, he scores.
This guy's an assassin in front of goal. Yeah. He scored what, 18 goals last year? Or I don't know if it was quite that much, but it was like at least 15. 16. He scored 16 goals last year on an absolutely garbage team with no service. Come on, fuck out of here, man. So like, if you can get, like we said over and over again, goals are the most expensive thing to buy.
Yep.
In soccer.
And Kuipers knows how to get them.
Seems simple to me. Like,
I mean, we should be happy that that LAFC didn't buy him. We should be happy that that San Diego didn't buy him. We should be happy that obviously St. Louis didn't buy him. Like you can just go down the list of all these teams that really should have bought him and didn't. And I'm happy that he's at Monterrey. I'd rather he be at Monterrey than at any other team that I listed. That's for sure. I mean, Seattle. Imagine if Seattle bought him. Imagine that. Fuck that.
Oh my god,
that would be terrible.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like he would actually fit really good in Seattle too.
He would be perfect.
Fit really good there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned LAFC. I was like, oh god, oh no.
It would be gross, man. It would be like, we don't have to worry about that. It's okay. No, it's all right. Crisis averted.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Seattle, he would be a huge fit in Seattle. That would be absurd. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter. He's at Monterrey, and he's gonna score like 2 goals and bag an assist in the Champions League final against XYZ MLS team. And we're like, of course. But then Monterrey will move on from him, and he'll be back in MLS in next season when he's 33. When he's 33. Right. Yeah, some MLS team will spend $10 million to get him back.
Houston.
Austin will definitely. Austin will definitely spend $10 million on him to get him back from Monterrey.
One of the Texas teams, no doubt, absolutely.
Houston won't spend $10 million on a striker. Austin definitely will.
That is true.
That they definitely
Austin spending $10 million on a 33-year-old striker.
On a washed striker from Liga MX, that's definitely a thing that will happen. I mean, they already Brandon Vasquez, they've done it. They Facundo Torres, they've trust me, we have too many examples of this in Austin. St. Louis signs a designated player number 10. Do not like.
Okay. Yeah.
Carlo Holse is a Danish number 10. The only reason I'm very familiar with him is because he is like a sort of undercover good attacking midfielder in Football Manager 26, and you can get him for cheap, kind of like what St. Louis did. So I don't know if he's actually good. I just know he's Football Manager good.
Okay.
So
let's cross our fingers.
Let's cross our fingers that he's only Football Manager good.
That he's ass. Yeah.
And unfortunately, the SKC news just kind of quiet right now. Not a whole lot happening. David Lee. So the one thing I would say is that there's generally a lag between when things happen and when we hear about them. Right. There's probably about a week lag between like when things happen and when they start to get sort of filtered out, like scribble the media or something like that. And David Lee was on vacation last week up until he did the press conference. So I think now that he's back off vacation, maybe he's out there working deals, and maybe next week we might start hearing, movement on certain things. But
let's hope.
Just going to have to wait and see. Yeah. Just going to have to wait for the guys that we have signed to get healthy. Speaking of which, let's talk about one thing to look for. We got Minnesota United coming to town this week. We got LAFC on the road on the weekend. Same 3 guys are out from last game. So Borges, Calhera, and Justin Reynolds are all still out. It doesn't seem like Moises Mosquera is anywhere near playing a game. based on how I listened to Wicky's press conference today, and it was like, we still haven't even had him in a full first team practice. And I'm like, well, that's not, he's not playing. That there's no fucking way. But good news. Wyatt Meyer is no longer sick, so he's available.
Sweet. Can't wait.
I mean, my concern is like, it hasn't gotten any cooler outside. So for the Amir Karichins and the Orblorians of the world, it didn't all of a sudden get easier to play soccer. I mean, it will be not near that bad tomorrow night. Thank God.
It's going to be okay. Yeah.
I mean, okay for July, right? Like, right. I mean, it's still pretty warm, but okay for July. I don't know, like, what is the weather like in Israel in like May or
I mean,
late June?
It's super
July.
Humid on the coast.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but Beersheba is not on the coast. It's
okay.
It's in the interior, and it's a desert.
So is it? So it's just not humid, but it's hot. Right. Is it
hot?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're just not used to humidity then,
right.
or is not used to that humidity. Gotcha.
Yeah, the heat here is just really different, right? It is like,
I mean, you can chew on the air in July, dude. Yeah, it is unbelievably thick, dude. Yeah. You just walk outside and start sweating. Like it's not. It's different. I lived in Texas for a long time, and I can. Now Houston is something different.
Yeah,
Houston is something completely different even than Kansas City. I'm telling you right now.
It is.
Holy shit. I mean, it's just that Houston is like within 3 minutes of outside, you're swamp ass. Like, it's that bad. But yeah, I mean, Central Texas is not, it's hot, but I mean, it's manageable.
And the important thing about I mean, I'm not breaking new ground here. It cools off at night, which is nice.
Right.
And part of the problem here is when the humidity side doesn't cool off at night, and so there's just no relief. You walk out the door and it's 85 degrees at 6 a.m, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. And like I said, I do think that that's going to break a little bit tomorrow for the game, so I think it'll be a little bit better. But we'll have to see. And I have no idea what the fitness situation is. I would hope to see the lineup, the back line we saw at the end of the St. Louis game to start this one, and then make changes as needed afterward. And then I mean, I have not watched much Minnesota this year. They seem like a very uninteresting team.
Yep.
They're playing okay, but they didn't go into the break playing that well. They haven't gotten a result in like 4 games. Well, they've gotten a result, but they haven't gotten a win in 4 games. So I don't know that I'm like, I just don't know anything about them.
At this point, I am less worried about the opponents that Sporting plays than I am just on Sporting themselves and how the team lines up and what, who are the players that we're watching. Whether or not Ian James starts at right back, like that's the kind of thing I'm going to be looking for. It really doesn't. I don't think that Sporting is good enough to really give a shit about who the team plays. Honestly, I don't think that as we kind of hinted about in terms of St. Louis's back three, it doesn't, like, there are things that you do that any team would do to maximize their effectiveness against a team like that plays in that kind of formation. But other than that, like, there's not like position specific matchups that I'm interested in looking at or anything. It's really just about putting a group of players on the field who can execute the basics. And if they do that and they win, okay, that's great. If they do that and they lose, I mean, okay, it's not. This is like, it's just such a weird place to be in because it's another, I don't want to say it's a lost season, but it kind of feels that way, right? It's just a developmental season and a season to like kind of get your shit together, and so I'm just hoping that the team continues to get their shit together. That's really what I'm looking for. Are they competent? Are they coherent? Is there like a decent plan? not a galaxy brain plan from from your coach? Are the players being put in a position to succeed? Like those are it's just like basic shit, because that's
Get
where I
the
feel like
simple
we
shit
are.
right. Like
Like
that's
it's
the thing.
really
It's
that.
like, and that's the problem that I've had is that there's sometimes too much complication in being involved here.
Right.
Just get the simple shit right.
And when you introduce complication, you're introducing too many variables. And when you have too many variables, you don't know when things go wrong. You don't know what to blame. So that means you don't know what to fix. So keep it simple, reduce your variables, and then make changes based upon the evidence that you receive from the game. Like that is the way forward, in my opinion. And so the more that the club can lean into that, and the more they can start to build, like, you find things that work and then build consistency off of those. Because at this point, like, we still don't even have that. This team gave up 3 goals. Yeah, one was a penalty, but they were still, they were still above 2 xG even without the penalty. And so so whatever is wrong with the defense is not being fixed. It's not being addressed, and we keep hoping that
There's 0.8 of is a penalty there. So like I would.
What
I
was
would
I
say,
thought it was like 2.7 or something like that. But
well,
maybe I'm
0.8 of a goal it's 2.4 last I saw.
wrong. It was 2.4. Okay,
Yeah.
so okay,
Was-
so maybe
the
not
non-penalty
quite
XG
as
was 1.6.
not quite as dire
anyway.
as I was thinking. But
Yeah.
but this team needs to be pushing the xG conceded down consistently from game to game, and they haven't shown that they can do that. And so like there are basic things that need to be sort of fixed that haven't been fixed yet. And so until those start to be we start to see the trends in the right direction on those, like that's what I'm looking for is I want to see our xG around 1. I don't want to see it up towards 2. I want to see our xG conceded. I want to see the xG that we're creating. It would be nice just to start winning xG battles.
Well, they had done that just prior to the break, right?
Absolutely.
We had started. There were 3 consecutive games where they had won the XG battle. They were creating over 1.5 XG per game. Like, you started to see the potential of a team, and so I don't want to make it all seem like just off of one game that they've reverted, but we are seeing in this game we did see some worrying signs of reversion, right?
Yep,
and
absolutely.
And some of that had to do with the coaching. But also some of that had to do with the fact that the back line that started this game included Jaden Reed, Jansen Miller, and right back Ian James. Like, I don't know that goes back to fucking 4 months ago kind of shit.
Yep,
with what they were doing with the back line, and Orblorian can't fix all that on his own.
No.
And I think that goes back to the conversation we had when we discussed the game, which is when you put 2 like reasonable fullbacks on the field, all of a sudden things got a little bit more normal.
Yep.
And the team played better. And even with Jansen Miller out there not having the best game and bear hugging Simon Betcher every chance that he got, it didn't matter because the other 3 guys were professional defenders. Yep. And I think that you can overcome one sort of unpredictable defender on your back line. You cannot overcome 3. And I think that was the issue that they had in the beginning of this game. And unfortunately, due to health, that may be a thing for a little while yet, until we have full fitness of Amir Karic and of Moises Mosquera. I think once you get those 3 guys fit, the right back situation becomes something you can fuck around with. It isn't something you can fuck around with right now. So you need to just be considerate of that fact and go, look, the barely 18-year-old kid is going to have to sit on the bench for a few games until we get this part figured out. And that's okay. Like, he'll be all right. And in the meantime, don't put him in situations where you fuck up his psychological development and his ability to learn.
Yep. Find what works and then build consistency with that. That's,
like I said, just do the simple stuff right. Let's focus on the simple stuff.
Yep.
Let's not try to do anything too complicated. So we'll have to see how that works. We'll have to see how that works against Minnesota, and again against LAFC. That's a much tougher challenge, I think, defensively. Minnesota is going to be. Minnesota plays a little bit more with the ball this year than they did last year under their new coach, but still much more. I'm much more concerned about them on the counterattack. That's where they get a lot of their goals. They do have Anthony Marcanic, who of St. Louis City FC fame. So we'll have to deal with him, and he's having a very positive year, which is annoying. But well, I think obviously at home you would expect to be competitive at least against Minnesota. I'm not suggesting that you're expecting a win, but you would expect competitiveness, and so that's like to your point. That's what I'm looking for. Get the simple stuff right. Be organized. Be competitive. Get on the road to LA. Yeah, it's a tough game. And
no,
so
we don't. We're not going to worry about that. You just take one game at a time.
Exactly.
Let's put together a competent performance tomorrow.
We're not going to get back together on this podcast until after that game. So that's what I'm saying. I'm sort of like alluding to the fact that there are 2 games before we record again. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm much more focused on tomorrow night, and putting together a performance more similar to like what we saw right before the break.
Yeah, let's hope. That's what we're looking for.
And we will see how that happens. And we will talk about whether or not it happened next week when we get back together. And until then, I'm Drew. He's Cody. We will talk to y'all soon.
Go Sporting.